Welcome in Line by Line. Today, Rogério Marques is back with us. Hi. And we are analyzing Feel Good Incorporated by Gorillaz. Rogério, why did you pick that song?
Okay, so this song has a lot of meaning going through it, and especially meaning that might be targeted as a satire toward society in general, and also the music industry in particular. And it's kind of a pointed commentary, a pointed critique of how things are, of the status quo. Since this is really something that applies to people in general, it's very broadly applicable as well. If we think deeply about it, I thought it would be worthy of our line by line to think about the music and its lyrics and talk about things that are important to talk about.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you for bringing it in. One of my favorite songs, actually. I've been listening to it a lot before I knew English as well.
So since the beginning, I was a fan of this band of Gorillaz. I really like their very intricate lyrics. Each song is very unique, a very unique piece. So, okay, without delay, let's dive into Feel Good Incorporated or Feel Good Inc. by Gorillaz. So it starts with Feel Good and repeats Feel Good a few times with a few guitar chords by a very soul-looking crushed character called 2D. He's kind of almost like he's acting like a puppet, repeating "feel good," and a guitar is playing by the other character Murdoch, and so it really gives us the sense that there is no soul in artistry going on with this character's performance. It's really being forced, and we'll soon find out what's going on behind this surface, this facade of supposed art, which is very focused on appearances and lacks a soul or a core. And so it goes on after the feel good part to cities breaking down on a camel's back. They just have to go because they don't know wack. So while you feel the streets, it's appealing to see. You won't get out the county because you're bad and free. Okay, so cities breaking down on a camel's back. It makes me think about when a nation or a state or a group of people or an organization are so beyond what is considered acceptable in terms of indignation, of repression, of feeling crushed by whatever the system is doing. They're trying to fight back. That's why they also mention while you feel the streets, of course, it's mentioning the people in general, the overall population, the masses. And it also says that you don't know wack, which is what might be a mention to, okay, of course, we're just assuming that most people don't know what's going on. Most people are unaware of what truly is the reality of the situation of society. They mostly act out of impulse, out of anger, without perhaps truly knowing what's responsible for their misery and their apparent helplessness. You won't get out of the county. It makes me it reminds me of what happens in totalitarian regimes, like North Korea, for example, that exists today, where if people aren't satisfied with the way things are. In a normal country, people have the choice to leave, to go to another place where they agree better with how things are governed, how the rules work. But in places like North Korea, people don't have a legal means to escape the country. It's very often in tyrannical countries for them to close the borders, so they prevent minds, good minds, to flee the country, the so-called brain drain. So it's appealing to see you won't get out of the country because you're bad and free. You're bad and free, it means, to me, you think by yourself, so you're bad according to the perspective of the system, of the tyrannical system. And you won't get out, even though you think for yourself. We have closed out things. And so even in the video clip, you can see things are very cramped and gray and gloomy. Okay, so your turn, Kara. Let's have your feelings as well.
Okay, I thought cities breaking down on a camel's back would talk about people who are overworking everything. But why do they work? And they have to go because they don't know wack. They just have to go. To go, it means to keep going, to keep working. It's just like because they don't know. But at some stage, he expresses the desire to get out. But when he said you won't get off country because you are bad and free, I heard it as if he said it's not enough. In order to get out, it's not enough to be bad and free. You need something more. Because you're in this group of those ants who keep working, who keep going, feeling the streets.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's you got a good point. It's not enough to be bad and free, like a teenage rebel that is against their parents, against the system, and they're kind of like expressing their freedom in a very impulsive way. It really is important to express freedom, because firstly, you freed yourself from your own impulses. And so thus, being in this new state, this new supposed enlightened state, not even a tyrannical regime can puppet you around, because the strings have already been broken, which would be your impulses, your emotions that you have subdued. You have conquered this.
Yeah, exactly. You got a new horizon. It's ephemeral style, a melancholy town where we never smile. And all I wanna hear is the message beep. My dreams, they got a kissing, 'cause I don't get sleep. No. So he's waiting for that phone call that will get him out of the country.
Yeah, or perhaps the beep is kind of like a call to, okay, you may finish your work shift now and rest a bit. The only thing that you can enjoy in this horrible place. He also mentions you got a newer horizon. It's ephemeral style. So ephemeral, of course, is something very short-lived. It might be a mention or an idea about this culture that is part of this system where the main character talking about, the narrator talking about, is in. It's all very use and throw away, like a chewing gum. And of course, this kind of soulless existence is melancholic, and the town where they are, it's a place where people never smile, because everything is superficial, ephemeral, soulless, without creativity, without um, a spontaneous self-expression. Everything is forced. And this overall, that, as you've mentioned, the people there are overworked. If it weren't bad enough by being a kind of puppeteered by Big Brother, as if it were, they are also not following their dreams. So he even finishes this stanza mentioning, my dreams, they got a kissing because I don't get sleep now. Of course, we can only really dream literally if we are afforded some sleep. He doesn't even get this reprieve, apparently.
Yeah, I think they got a kissing. It's like he says goodbye to his dreams because he doesn't even sleep. So not even that. I do believe it's about dreams, like the entire stanza here. You got a new horizon. So he starts to dream about something, and like there, it's a dream in two meanings. It could be a dream of a better future, of a career, or actual dreaming, which is like the painting behind. It's ephemeral style. Like again, it's very hard to catch, and it's just short-lived, as you said. Melancholy town where we never smile. So he wants something better. He wants to get out, but the only way to get out is this message beep. He wants like, oh, so he needs to call somewhere, maybe message beep, unless he would receive the message beep, like the message beep. Okay, I get it. It's like somebody left an answer on his answering machine back in the day, like when there were phones with the answering machine. Oh, so he's waiting for that.
And perhaps he, as the video clip shows, he, Murdoch, and the big guy, his name escapes me. They are the three. They are trapped in this feel-good ink, while Noodle is, as we will see in the next stanza. During the next stanza, we see Noodle playing her guitar, her I think acoustic guitar, on this piece of beautiful earth that is floating in the sky with a really cheerful windmill, very colorful, which contrasts so absolutely with the previous vistas of this town where no one ever smiles. That maybe 2D, who was mentioning about his dream and the message beep he is waiting for. Maybe he's waiting for a message from Noodle, who is in a better place, just so he can get a little taste of something better.
Oh, that's nice. I think that windmill that comes next, the refrain, is the actually message beep. It's like it's the actual message. Could you read it?
Yeah. So windmill, windmill for the land, turn forever hand in hand. Take it all in on your stride. It is ticking, falling down. Love forever, love is freely, turned forever, you and me. Windmill, windmill for the land. Is everybody in? So this is much more hopeful, much more filled with joy and love, much more pleasant than the previous stanzas. This has a much more natural symbology to it. A windmill is a piece of technology that humans created that harmonizes very well with nature. The old windmills that we used to produce our flour with the grinding stones. They didn't turn very fast, so they didn't harm any birds either. In contrast to the newer windmills that we have. they would be part of the landscape very seamlessly, and they would apparently turn forever. And I think this hand in hand is kind of like a reference to Cervantes' Don Quixote, which had a knight that was trying to fight windmills as if they were giants, and the pedals of the windmills, he pictured them as the giant's hands. And so there's also this idea of taking it all in on your stride. Perhaps since this this message is so short and precious, 2D needs to take it all in very intensely, because it's such a rare glimpse into the outer world where nature is respected, where in a sense the Tao is upheld, in contrast with the place where he is, where there's no Tao, there's only forced labor and slavery. Love forever, love is freely. This is a really beautiful mention about people being able to express their most positive feelings for one another, for life, and for companionship, without any hindrances or any coercion. Nothing forced here, everything natural. So that's my feel about this stanza.
The way it sounded dreamy, it also sounded like a record, like an old vinyl record, like the noise at the background when he was singing Windmill, Windmill. It also had different reverb, kind of like torn forever hand in hand. I think it's escape out of town that he sees is love, and hand in hand it's somebody else with whom you are kind of going into this romantic relationship. I project here like he wants to escape into love now and dream together the dreams. So perhaps he's in love with a musician as well, and waiting for her to call. And
yeah,
maybe it's how it is. Maybe he dated her.
Perhaps. It's also very important for me to take advantage of, since you mentioned love as an escape mechanism, to do a little bit of a cautionary wording here, because if you use love as an escapist mechanism, it might turn sour, because love is being used, it's being abused in a sense. It might not be it might not emerge so naturally, as it were, if the two people are okay and they are in peace with themselves to begin with. If people are kind of really oppressed and seek love almost like in panic to escape the oppressive overall life, it might not be so pure as love that emerges from a good place. But of course, this is a very big generalization. It's just for people to take care to not let love be used and abused, so it doesn't turn sour. So that love, when it emerges, it can be nurtured and really be virtuous instead of turning sour.
I see a point here. So if love is this live buoy that people who are trying to escape reality, they go into this almost with desperation, they dive deep into love and dreams and this high, because being in love, especially this like first passionate moments, it's like a drug. It gets you super high into windmills and sky and flowers and like floating in the air. But if you chase the high itself, it will go down. Like it takes like it's short-lived, let's say. But I see a point
Ephemeral.
about steady. Yes, exactly. I see a point about this steady nurturing type of love, where people conscientiously grow in it. Because I have this friend, actually the one who painted this painting, and she told me that love, when you shed off the passion but nurture the love itself, when you like consciously sit and look in each other's eyes, like she and her husband, it's beautiful and it grows, and she's like, the feeling is way more powerful with time, because you already know that this is the person, like there is no fear that you will lose this person, and then it's kind of uh, full on giving into the relationship. It's happier somehow.
It's
Although
rising
some people
together.
do like risk.
Rising together in love. Yeah, of course,
Yeah.
we have all an earlier and more reckless, more
Mhm.
youthful phase of our lives, much more impulsive,
Mhm.
where we have, of course, from our birth, a very pronounced lack of self-knowledge. We have all kinds of hormonal impulses after and during our puberty phase, our teens. And of course, people learn by experience, learn by committing mistakes, learn by falling very hard on their faces. Sometimes they say that they're falling in love. And is it really always falling in love, though? Is it um, really genuine love, or maybe it's like you've said, pursuing this cocktail of drugs that may be made up of oxytocin, endorphins, dopamine. When people fall in love, it's all crazy all going around, and we can be pretty sure that our rational side takes a rise when all these impulses are really at their peak, as if the noon sun really hard shining on us. We can't open our eyes even. So our rationality is kind of like subdued by all these things that are going on.
Yeah. I like how, coming back to the song, the guy is floating in the with the windmills and love. Then his friend comes in and kind of pulls him down, and it comes with this rap, like actually geniusly done. Like those guys,
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah, yeah.
And he says, "Laughing gas, these hazmats, fast cats, lining them up like ass cracks. Play these ponies at the track. It's my chocolate attack." Ah, cool. Cool.
And we it's important to praise a part a characteristic of this song. The video clip was clearly designed alongside the lyrics, and both the lyrics and the video clip were wonderfully executed together. They go hand in hand. Everything that is being said in the lyrics and is happening on screen is in sync completely. When we are listening to this stanza you just read, we are seeing a huge figure on a really big screen, which reminds us of the huge big screen with the Big Brother of 1984. It's really tempting to think that they drew inspiration from George Orwell's major novel. Also because of the overall theme. And since this Big Brother figure, which is rapping these lines very satirically, mentioning these ponies, as he says, that are his slave artists, as it were, performing at his bidding, doing whatever he says them to do. he mentions the laughing gas, which also might be a mention to Batman's Joker, where people used the laughing gas and lose their minds, became addicted to it, and became kind of like a Joker's minions. And the fast cats, well, when I listened to this, I really thought he was saying fat cats, because it in my mind it would make a little bit sense, because we usually mention the big guys, the rich guys that domineer the society as the fat cats. But fast cats might be a mention to the how do you say it, the guards or the gorillas that these big tyrannical dictators generally use to oppress people, that strike really fast to people that are out of line. And also he mentions the people lining up so narrowly, so closely, that he compared it like the ass cracks. It's a really suggestive metaphor, of course, a very crude metaphor. Of course, it's obvious here that he is no guy that is following Aristotle's Poetics. He's making really crude, really ugly metaphors because he really doesn't care about artistic aesthetics. So he uses these kind of grotesque imagery in this stanza here. And he mentions his chocolate attack, which chocolate was in George Orwell's 1984. I think it was either in George Orwell's 1984 that chocolate was used as a soothing drug, as if it were, or some other story about oppressive. I'm not recalling correctly, but I believe it was. It could be a mention about this, about kind of like a soothing drug.
I do believe it talks about music industry. So it's, if to look all the things we read previously, it's the guy who dreams to get out of the city, and he doesn't want to work that camelback thing, which is like people not smiling at all. So musical industry seems attractive to him, all those windmills, and even that record thing, that the way it played, windmill on a record, it's actual vinyl record how it's played.
Yeah,
so he goes
authentic.
in there, it's so poetic, like on so many levels. Plus there is this love that kind of also attracts him, but then reality hits him. The chocolate attack is actually a reality of music industry. What was music industry like? Was early 2000s, or like end 90s and early 2000s. That song is something like, I think it's 2000, just 2000, like literally 2000 or something.
The noughties, as it were.
So he gets down to earth by kind of this, I don't know if it's dark, grotesque reality of music industry. Laughing gas, compared to somebody who isn't smiling, gas is something that makes you smile by force. Somehow you're like, you intake it and you start laughing about everything. I remember, like, I met some weed smokers who would keep laughing like the about everything, and all of that was not natural. It seems like the world isn't that funny, but it starts being funny if you induce something from the outside. And it's an interesting expression, laughing gas, these hazmats, fast cats, and like he talks about people on drugs, basically, as far as I'm concerned, in the music industry. So that's the darkening of the boy. And even further in the song, it will be just progression of it will be a mix of this windmill and the laughing gas guy.
He mentioned shit, I'm stepping in the heart of this year, yeah. Care Bear rapping in harder this year, yeah. Watch me as I gravitate, ha 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 ha. And so he steps in the hearts of what is beautiful, of what could be or what might be previously something artistic, something aesthetically pleasing, something nurturing for the soul. And he's just this big brother guy is just stepping on over things that have value. And he is exercising his power and really being obvious and very expressive about it. He also mentions the Care Bears rapping in harder this year. Care Bears is a mention to a cartoon which has very, very, very pleasant Care Bears, very colorful ponies and rainbows and whatnot. But in contrast, unlike the Care Bear comics, these Care Bears that he hired to try to convince people in this feel-good ink to feel good, they are really devastated, soul-crushed. They're nothing like Care Bears because they are being stepped on continuously by this tyrannical figure. And then he ends comparing himself with a massive body around which everything orbits. Watch me as I gravitate. He could be comparing himself with the sun around which all the planets circle around. So he's in control of everything. He is the center of everything. Nothing goes down in this feel-good ink without him knowing about it. Really a perfect characteristic about a tyrannical leader of an oppressive regime.
I actually think it's a goodbye to childhood here. He gets into the music industry and he's gravitating towards him. And the Care Bear is like still the childhood thing in his head, like this naivete, let's say. And then he takes in the gas and watch me gravitate, ha 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 ha. He gets high, but a different type of high. So the moment it's a ha 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 is actually already the laughing gas that he intook with the childhood naivety.
It's also important to mention one thing that is not clear only by the lyrics. As soon as the song starts, but in the beginning, we hear very maniacal laughter, which connects very nicely with these mentions about laughing gas and these lyrics where he continues to mention this ha ha ha. So he continues to mention this fakeness of pleasure, this only superficial pleasure of the senses, which is nothing everlasting. It's very ephemeral. Of course, the pleasure of the senses produced by this laughing gas is very short-lived. It won't produce a sustainable eudaimonic, as it were, which is a persistent sense of happiness that is self-generated. Instead, it's all produced by outer things, all produced by these suggestions in the lyrics, feel good, really repeating the laughing gas. So this overall picture of trying to abuse human senses into producing a semblance of happiness just to keep people in line so that they don't protest too much.
Yeah. Also promoting drugs so other people find it cool and keeping them in line. It's very easy to keep people addicted. Like it's not a drug of freedom though.
Yeah.
Yo, we go in ghost town, this small town, with your sound, you in the blink, Go and bite the dust. Can't fight with us. With your sound, you kill the ink. Oh, that's hopeful. Like, what do you see here?
Yeah, so this is still the big brother figure rapping his lines. He ends with a kind of showing his vulnerability in passing. He still mentions that these people that are working for him, they still have some power if they only realize that they are not entirely helpless and start to express themselves truly. They could kill the ink. You won Ghost Town. This Motown is kind of like a expression of everything, more and more and more. So Motown, which in reality it's a ghost town because it's only more and more external stuff, superficial stuff, nothing with substance. With your sound, you in the blink, gone by the dust, can't fight with us. So he wants them to keep with their sounds only as far as he allows them to, only following his commands, not assuming your sounds, only my sounds. If someone tries to express your sound or their sounds, which is their true artistic expression, going to bite the dust, can't fight with us. So if you try to get out of line to be yourself, you're going to bite the dust, because with your sound you kill the ink. If you get out of line, you stop being obedient to the rules, and so you will be considered a traitor of this nation, of this ink, or either a traitor of the overarching system of the music industry. If we we kind of see the lyrics being a double whammy of criticizing the ills of the plastic music industry and also of a tyrannical system in general.
Oh, I get it. So he again, the representation of Big Brother and the music industry, as far as I'm concerned, he tells the guy, do not step out of line. Your music is too free. You have to like, so the guy was dreaming to get out of town so he's not on camel's back, or like working that thing, and to go into freedom. So the music industry was associated with freedom. But when he got in, first of all, he got hooked. Plus, he has to be always in line with the music industry without the freedom or whatever he wants to do. Like he gets immediately suppressed in a sense. Wow. Something like Tom McDonald would write.
Yeah, since you mentioned the music industry, I was reminded, I remember the story that is told about an artist, an outspoken Russian musician or comedian, that he talked openly about what was going on in the music scene, in the artist scene, where people are basically literally sodomized to be accepted in their circles, sexually abused, even both male and female, whatever. He painted a kind of bleak picture of people surrendering and being oppressed to just to be accepted as artists, to be able to sell records or sell artist production. There's a really famous quote about the music industry also in the United States, which goes very paraphrasingly like, the music industry is like a deep plastic corridor where artists are gone to die, where everything is prostituting and pimping. And this is the good part of the music industry. So it's really ironical and satirical. And this, I'm not remembering who mentioned this, but we could check it out at the end.
So when I was like 17, 18, and I used to perform since I was 4 years old, but I was really lucky to have an extremely wise teacher who taught me to perform not for the fame, but for the art itself and for making people's day better, to serve people. And when I got, my voice got really good enough to go and to auditions and everything, there was always something attached to the audition that I was never willing to do. I was like, no, it's just like me and my talent and my audition. I was like, no, then bye. Like, why? You are not willing to break yourself. You don't want it badly enough. You will not be controlled. So if a person is broken, the artist is already broken enough. He can be controlled. I guess that's why all that darkening is for drugs, also sexual abuse. Like when you psychologically break the person enough, you can control that person. I had to resign. Like I was not able to go there because I remembered what my teacher told me. He said, if you will break your moral core and be on stage, you will feel like it's not worth it and you will need to take drugs. And he told it because it happened to his student already. Like his student, she broke her moral values and then she kept taking drugs to forget about it and to keep going on stage. The stage did not give her pleasure anymore. She was just a puppet. At some point she was like completely empty, and then she committed suicide. And he told me that story. And so I had to kind of give up on my dreams because the only way back in those days was to break myself
Yeah.
somehow.
You I think did well to share this story. It's a really powerful story and a cautionary tale as well, which is really important for people who are dreaming about artistic production, getting into an artistic field, to really take care of building a strong mind, as well as their talent, their artistic excellency. Their artistic capabilities. Really important for both to go hand in hand, in my opinion. I have a very outsider kind of perspective of artistic production. So it is what it's worth. You have a little bit more insider view. I have a more outsider view, and I come more from the realm of sciences and philosophy as well. And so toughness of mind is so important. So it's so important that we keep our integrity, because if not, as you mentioned, people will seek escapes. They will seek to compensate the hurt that they are feeling with many times. It's very often they use drugs, or they even use suicide to flee this continuous pain that they feel, that they are not being themselves entirely. They are being someone else's tool. And this reminds me of when I was really young. It struck me really strangely that I was praising some artists that were breaking out and making albums that sold very well, and my cousins, much older cousins that were in their mid-teens, they would tell me disapprovingly that no, they became too commercial. Their music is no
Sold
good
out.
now. Yeah,
They sold
they
out.
sold out, and I never forgot these kinds of responses I got from my wiser and older cousins. And at the time, I was just looking at the superficial aesthetics of the songs. One example was Prodigy. They made a very indie album, very crude album with very crude lyrics, but very genuine. And then they sold out to the big publishers, to the big record labels. And made the Fat of the Land, and it was much more commercial. But I was enjoying it because it's really hyped up. It was, everyone was listening to it. But my cousin said, no, it's no good now. It's they sold out. They're too commercial now. Yeah. So this Gorillaz song and our conversation just, it's just jogged in this flashback of mine.
Yeah, it reminds me again, there is this rapper punk guy called Tom McDonald. He did not sell out to music, and he did everything on his own with his girlfriend, like basically 2-3 people, and also Nas. Like so him, his girlfriend, and Nas, his rapper friend. And the three of them, they keep doing music, and they actually winning, and they are not servants to the let's say publisher who will tell them what not talk about. So their music is politically incorrect, and they do raise a lot of issues, and talking about a lot of struggles. So this just reminds me of that. I was fortunate to have a teacher who explained to me and stopped it, because the temptation of something unknown is really big, because that question, what if, it keeps kind of drilling into the brain somehow. What if I like forgo my inner convictions, and just once, will I be able to live with myself? Will I be able to kind of be happy on stage? And yeah, look, he convinced me not to do anything stupid, and I'm so grateful right now looking back. Like, no fame and no stage would have been worth me taking drugs and feeling depressed and hating myself, thinking I'm nothing and stuff like that. That's what happens. Like, and then you see those famous people overdosing on drugs because they probably did break themselves too far.
Yeah, it's almost like it's so cliche to say that artists that sell a lot of labels and they perform a lot of shows, that they all take drugs and probably perform on drugs and whatever. It's almost the exception is the people that are sober. Basically, it's a really dark circle. It's a really dark place where people supposedly ought to be nurturing everyone's souls with art, with lyrics, with poetry, with even wisdom, perhaps, inside the lyrics and the artistic production, and nothing or almost nothing of that sort comes to be because of all this system that is behind it. As you mentioned, it's based on puppeteering artists, of domineering them to be ponies, basically, to do the master's bidding. And of course, if people live their lives convinced they are someone else's avatar, someone else's tool, depression quickly settles in, because according to what I've learned about depression, when we feel depression, it's basically our body telling us, our body and mind telling us, we are not being the person we were meant to be, or we dream to be, at least. And so it's really important to keep it real, to stay authentic, keep it real, as Ali G said. It's really important to see the value, the real value, beyond just money and fame. There's if you allow me to quote Gregory Peck, which was a great actor who said something really enlightening about this. He said, making millions is not the whole ball game, fellows. Pride of workmanship is worth more. Artistry is worth more.
Yeah.
So don't stop. Get it until you're cheddar-headed, and watch the way I navigate. Ha 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 ha. Shabada shabadaka. Feel good. Don't stop. Get it. Peep how your captain's in it. Steady. Watch me navigate. Ha 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 ha. Shabadaka. Feel good. And so don't stop. Get it. Get the drug. Get the feel good substance. Numb your senses until basically your brain is like a Swiss cheese, basically, or a cheddar cheese filled with holes. Watch the way I navigate. Basically, the label industry or record industry, big bosses. They are the captains of the ship. They commandeer their artists like they were a enslaved crew that goes all in the same direction, hyping the same materialistic values, the same superficial feel-good crap, this plastic and ephemeral culture without any substance, without any true feelings, absolutely not a trace of soul-nourishing aesthetic. Don't stop, get it. He continues to insist that the artists, since the artist has surrendered to the big guy, to keep on anesthetizing themselves with any drug of choice, cannabis, fentanyl, barbiturates, crack, cocaine, whatnot. One thing is for sure, the music industry, the artists that are numbing themselves, they have no shortness of options of toxins and poisons to keep doing that, keep numbing their senses and being enslaved to these big guys that commandeer them tyrannically.
Yeah. Until peep how your captain's in it. Steady, watch me navigate at the end. So
Yeah,
I can also say how in between all of those it's on a loop, windmill, or that dream with love and dreams and windmills, kind of this beautiful vinyl record refrain.
The contrast is so dramatic. It's it's like black and white.
Mm-hmm. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
I really love your choice of the song today. Thank you, Rogério. Thank you for having free time.
Thank you so much for accepting this bold choice of song, and also I really enjoyed what you shared. It's filled with practical wisdom of who lives life and analyzes what's going on and benefits from wise teachers and wise masters. It's really enlightening. I only hope that who is watching this gets a tinge of wisdom, as I'm thankful for what you also shared here today with me.
Thank you. Okay, people, check out Rogério's YouTube channel, Awakening Consciousness, More episodes are coming in, and Rogério starts a podcast as well. Also, all his other works, I will provide links below, and support the consciousness. And bye. So Rogério, what's behind you? What's that painting?
So behind me is a painting by an artist who goes by the name Olga Mars. She's in Instagram with her creations. And
I will provide the link below.
she calls this piece of work with mixed techniques, painting and textiles. She calls it Dream.
It's beautiful, beautiful. I have, as usually, works by EM. Her Instagram is also below. Check it out.